You've worked hard to earn and save. Now it's time to make your money work hard for you. This is Empower Your Retirement with Frank and Frankie Guida of A Better Way Financial.
It's springtime. Maybe some cleaning out has been happening. Does clean out happen around the Guida households this time of year?
Yeah, we just put away our Christmas stuff.
Perfect. Nothing says pack up Christmas like Easter. Well, sometimes just cleaning out the little things, just starting small, will help make you feel a little bit better. Let's just go to something as simple as our key ring and ask yourself this, dear listener. How many keys do you have on your key ring, and do you know what all of them go to? Because one poll found the average person has 9 keys and has no idea what 3 of them are for. Frank, you're laughing, I feel like, in empathy, because this is a circumstance you understand.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You know, I just checking my key ring. I actually have 8.
Okay.
And probably a couple of mine, I'm not entirely sure where they go. But, but then I have like a bunch of other keys because we own real estate and stuff like that. And, and so we have keys to all of this stuff, and like some of it's labeled and some of it's not. No. And we look at a key and we're like, where does that go to? I have no idea.
The junk drawer is filled with keys that have no lock to turn.
It's crazy.
The thing about keys is this. Having some extra keys on your key ring or lying around, that's not really going to hurt you. Where we have more possessions that we are unaware of that can be harmful is the possessions that we don't know anything about within our investments, within our savings, within our portfolios. And that's where you guys step in to educate us, particularly when you're sitting down with folks about specific things going on in their portfolios. How do you help people uncover and eliminate unnecessary or outdated investments?
The first thing we actually do is we sit down with folks. You know, we have a cup of coffee, and when they come in, we're baking them some fresh chocolate chip cookies, and we're just sitting there, and we want to get to know the folks that we're sitting with. We want to get to understand them. We want to understand their life situation. We want to understand their goals. We want to know what they want their retirement to look like. What do they have left on their bucket list? What are the things they want to do? And then we start asking them questions about their portfolio and things like that. How well do they understand their portfolio? What kind of risk is in their portfolio? Do they know what kind of risk is in their portfolio? All of these different things are so important when we're trying to put this all together. And then once we can finally really do a really thorough, nice fact find, that's when our financial planning team gets to work.
Yeah, we go through basically their investments, everything that they've put together. We get together, we go over that, and we look at each of the individual ticker symbols for each of those investments. So we're looking at every position that they have within the portfolio to find out what is performing well, what is performing maybe not so well, and just have a real analysis of what's going on there. What is the risk associated with the portfolio? What are the returns that the portfolio has been getting so that they can see, I know where these 6 keys go, but I don't know what those 3 keys are doing.
Right?
Exactly.
It's the same thing with your investments. You could have some investments that are doing really, really well and some investments that is like, oh man, I really shouldn't have done that, or I should make some changes there. And a lot of people don't even know that they should make those changes, or they're within the same investment.
That's exactly right, Frankie. I mean, there are folks that they took out this investment so many years ago. They don't know what it's doing. They don't know if it's doing what it was supposed to do. And, they kind of want some help with that, make sure that they did make the right decision, and if it continues to be the right decision, even if it was the right decision back then.
And this is something we see all the time. There's those target date retirement funds, and some of those positions within there are good positions. They have equity exposure, they're getting good long-term rates of returns, and some of them aren't as good positions, like they're heavy in bonds, and they aren't doing as well with the interest rate environment that we've been in over the past 5 years. So it's something that even within those ETFs and mutual funds themselves, there could be problems. There could be some things that are underperforming. Some folks have inherited funds from their parents, and they're like, well, mom or dad had it set up this way, and I'm just going to keep it the way they had it set up. But sometimes the way that they had it set up in the time that they had it made sense, but not necessarily in today's time. So it's always good to have the investments looked at to see what is working well and what is not working so well, and what additional opportunities do you have to make sure that your portfolio can be working the best that it can for you. So what we do is we put together a risk and return analysis, and we show you what does it look like in your current portfolio? How has it been performing over the past 25 years? What is the level of risk associated with it if there is a major market crash like there was in 2008? And then we show you some alternatives. We show you, based off of your risk tolerance, what alternatives are available, and if there's an opportunity to potentially increase the rate of return over that 25-year period, or decrease or lower some of the risk associated with the portfolio. And this is exactly what we do. We look through that investment and we see what can we do to put you in a better position for your retirement. So we put together a retirement plan analyzing basically everything within that current portfolio, showing you the recommendations so that you can make an informed decision for your retirement. So if you haven't had one of these risk and return analysis, if you haven't had someone look through and dissect your portfolio to find out what's working well and what isn't working so well, if you're 55 and older and you save $500,000 or more for your retirement, give us a call for your complimentary risk and return analysis that we are offering right now to the next 5 callers at 610-440-3722. That's 610-440-3722 for your complimentary risk and return analysis.
Talking about folks that had some stuff in their portfolio that maybe needed to be changed. We had that couple come in, happened to live pretty close to me, same zip code as me, up in Upper Macungie area. Is 64 years old and 60 years old. They were both working and pretty, working. I mean, when I say working, I mean, these people were working. They were saving their money. They were doing a heck of a job. They had a couple of kids. And you know what? They had done a terrific job of saving money, and they wanted to retire this year. They were thinking of downsizing their home, buying an RV, doing some traveling. Nice. They like to golf. They like to hike. They wanted to live life. When looking at their portfolio, they were great savers, but there were things in their portfolio that, I guess time had changed. It's like, they were pretty due to have some things changed in that portfolio. It was a pretty big portfolio. It was a nice $3.6 million portfolio. They had an annuity in there. They knew it was going to pay them out an income. It was going to pay them out $14,000 a year. Okay. Now, this particular annuity was only on a single person's life. It was only on his life. What that meant is when he passes away, that guaranteed income stopped as well.
Got it.
Yeah. So we looked at it and it was an older annuity that had come around in a lower interest rate environment. Mm-hmm. And then we said, well, what if we took the proceeds of the annuity and did a transfer into one of the new modern annuities? Now the annuity, instead of paying out $14,000 a year, will pay out $20,000 a year, and it will do so for as long as either one is living.
Got it.
I mean, do you realize the difference with that?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's huge. It's not only $6,000 more income, but it's also covering both of their lives.
Right.
And they also had another annuity as well that was providing $12,000 of income per year if they were to turn on that income. Mm-hmm. And we showed them that they could replace that and get $17,000 of income instead of the $12,000. So between just those two annuities that they had, a relatively small portion of their portfolio, $11,000 more income per year guaranteed for life.
For the rest of their lives.
Wow.
And then we said, well, let's look at how we could do this whole thing, the other $3 million of the portfolio. And we looked at it. We looked at every investment that they had. We looked at what their risk was, what their returns were. And they were returning about a 5% rate of return since the year 2000. And we showed them that we could set up the portfolio where over that same time period, they would have gotten over 7% rate of return. So over 2% higher rate of return on average per year. And we looked at their fees. We looked at what they were paying. They were paying close to 2% per year in fees. We showed them how to save $29,000 on average per year in fees alone.
Just fees.
Wow.
Amazing.
Just in fees. And by doing that, that's a $29,000 check, instead of writing it out to an advisor or to a financial company, that they could write out to themselves
Exactly.
to do what they want to do in their retirement.
Yeah.
And it's more important for them to enjoy it rather than having to worry, rather than having to pay that out every year and not get the fruit of that labor. And with the strategies we were able to put together for them and use, we were able to show them that they could increase their living expenses from $120,000 of income per year all the way up into $162,000 of income per year. So $42,000 more each year to spend how they want to, rather than spending that extra money on fees or not getting a high enough rate of return to be able to afford that extra income in their retirement. And this is what that planning can do. And this is why it's so important to get that risk and return analysis and truly see what is going on within those investments. What are the fees that you're paying? What are the risks of having the investments that you have? And what are the returns that you're getting? So if you've been watching your investments lately and maybe you're not happy with the way that they're performing and you don't really know if everything is working the way that you need it to be, give us a call for a complimentary risk and return analysis where we're going to be able to look through that and see if it's designed and setting you on a path towards the right retirement, or if there's any changes that you need to make to better set yourself up for retirement. We are offering this right now to the next 5 callers. If you're 55 and older and you've saved $500,000 or more for your retirement, give us a call right now for your complimentary risk and return analysis at 610-440-3722. That's 610-440-3722.
What do you have sitting in your portfolio that's not working or that just could be working better for you and your retirement? Let's get to work helping you figure that out. Again, the number you're dialing, 610-440-3722.
Thanks for listening to Empower Your Retirement with Frank and Frankie Guida. To learn more, visit abetterwayfinancial.com.
By contacting us, we'll review aspects of your retirement portfolio to include suggestions about how best to utilize estate, tax, and retirement planning strategies and other financial services, or if changing management styles is appropriate for your specific needs and objectives. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendations to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate, and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. A Better Way Financial is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any client experiences discussed during this show are unique to that client, and they are not meant to imply or suggest you will experience the same results. Advisory services offered through A Better Way Financial. Insurance offered through licensed professionals at A Better Way Financial. Pennsylvania Insurance License number 301779.